I can't believe what these Commanders rookies are doing. They must be crazy if they think this kind of rookie class is normal. But that's not all that's happening in this organization. That's finally giving us real hope in the DMV. We've got a roster depth being tested like never before. And on top of all that, there's a massive challenge coming that could define our season. If you thought this season was going to be like the previous ones, you were completely wrong. Because Dan Quinn is building something special here in Washington. And I'm going to explain exactly why these three developments are changing the future of this franchise. Stay until the end, because the third piece of news could determine if we keep up this momentum or crash into the reality of the NFL. Listen up, Commanders fans. After years of watching this organization waste draft picks like they were confetti on the National Mall, after seeing how they brought in pricey veterans who gave us absolutely nothing, finally, we have rookies contributing from the first snap of the regular season. And you know what has me more excited than a tourist seeing the Lincoln Memorial for the first time? That I'm not talking about small contributions or progressive development. I'm talking about touchdowns, baby. I'm talking about game-changing plays since week 1. Jalen Lane, this wide receiver many didn't know before the draft, returned a punt for a touchdown. A punt return touchdown. Do you remember the last time we had a returner giving us that spark? I'll tell you when. Years ago, we hadn't seen this in Washington. But wait, that's not all. Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, this running back who arrived without much fanfare, already has TWO rushing touchdowns in just 3 weeks. To touchdowns. And I'm not talking about 1-yard touchdowns in garbage time. I'm talking about a rookie contributing when the game matters, when we need yards, when we need points on the board. And you know what's the most amazing thing about all this? That Dan Quinn is talking about the versatility of this rookie class with a smile I haven't seen on a Commanders head coach in years. He himself said, quoting directly, that last year a single player took all the rookie credits. But now they're sharing the spotlight. That's Burgundy and Gold, baby. That's the mentality we desperately needed in this organization. It's no longer the era of a single rookie carrying all the weight. Now we have a system where multiple young players can shine simultaneously. But do you think this is a coincidence? I'm telling you this, it's not a coincidence. This is the direct result of Adam Peters arriving as general manager and completely changing the drafting philosophy of this organization. Peters isn't looking for a home run with every pick. He's building real depth, finding players who can contribute immediately. And you know why I have so much confidence in this approach? Because when I look at what the Eagles did in 2017 when they won the Super Bowl, when I look at what the Giants did in their championships, there were always rookies contributing significantly. It's not enough to have 2 or 3 superstars if you don't have depth. Now I ask you this, when was the last time we could say that our rookies were impacting games? Since week 1. When was the last time we had multiple rookies scoring touchdowns? In the first 3 weeks of a season? I'll refresh your memory. In 2022, with Ron Rivera, our main rookies were Jahan Dotson, who had some moments but struggled with consistency, and Brian Robinson, who came on strong, but after missing the start due to circumstances we all know. In 2023, we had Emmanuel Forbes struggling at cornerback and a few other picks that frankly didn't move the needle. But now we have rookies scoring from day one. Lane with that punt return that took our breath away. Crosky-Merritt running with purpose and finding the end zone not once, but twice. This is what happens when you have a front office that knows what it's doing. And look, Crosky-Merritt is questionable for tomorrow's game with a knee injury. But the fact that he practiced fully before the team traveled to Atlanta tells me everything I need to know about his mentality. This guy has the right attitude. He's willing to play hurt for the team, for the city. For us fans who have waited so long to see rookies with this winning mentality, and Jalen Lane, with Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown both out with injuries, this rookie will have the golden opportunity that every young wide receiver dreams of. We might see Lane start as a starter for the first time in his career. If Marcus Mariota connects a touchdown pass to him, imagine what that would mean for his confidence and for the development of our offense. Because here's what's really exciting me. These rookies aren't just contributing. They're contributing at crucial moments. Lane's punt return wasn't in garbage time. Crosky-Merritt's touchdown run in week 1 helped set the tone for the entire season. If that surprises you, wait to hear this. And here comes something that completely amazes me in the best possible way. Commanders fans, I need you to pay attention to what's happening with the injuries on our roster. Because this could have been the apocalypse for previous seasons of this franchise. 6 players are on this week's injury report. 6 players. And I'm not talking about marginal players or practice squad guys. I'm talking about real contributors, players we expected to be an integral part of our game plans. But you know what's crazy about this whole situation? That here we are, sitting with a record of 2-1, coming off an absolute demolition 41-24 against the Las Vegas Raiders. 41 points. When was the last time the Commanders scored 41 points in a game? I'll tell you this, a long time ago. And you know why we're not just surviving but thriving with all these injuries. Because finally, after years of shallow rosters and depth charts that scared us, we have real depth built by Adam Peters and developed by Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn talked about this topic this week, and I want you to hear his exact words because they reveal the mentality that has changed everything in this organization. Quinn said he doesn't talk much about injuries with the team, and the reason is that he wants them to be prepared for that flexibility as a certainty, not as a possibility when those moments come. That's winning mentality. That's elite coaching. We're not waiting for injuries not to happen. We're preparing so that when they do, we have the answers ready. But you know what impresses me more? The specificity of the preparation. Quinn mentioned it could have been running back, or tight end, or receiver, any position. That's the job, he said. That's why you're here, and when those opportunities come, you don't want to overcompensate. That don't overcompensate philosophy is crucial. How many times in the past did we see backup players come in with too much anxiety, trying to do too much, and end up making costly mistakes? I'll tell you this, too many times to count. And you know what else I love about this situation? That Cliff Kingsbury is completely adapting the playbook to highlight the specific strengths of the players stepping in for injuries. It's not just next man up and running the same plays. It's how do we maximize what this specific player does best. Kingsbury has demonstrated that flexibility throughout his career. When he was in Arizona, he adapted his offense for Kyler Murray in specific ways. When he was at Texas Tech, he modified his air raid for different quarterbacks. Now he's doing the same here in DC, and the results speak for themselves. Joe Witt Jr. also deserves massive credit. Our defensive coordinator is managing injuries in the secondary, working with linebackers who weren't in the original plans. And yet we're seeing week-to-week improvements in our defense. Now I ask you this, do you remember Ron Rivera's seasons when an injury to a starter basically meant we had to change our entire game plan? Do you remember when we lost a key player and it seemed like the whole system was falling apart? I remember perfectly. I remember 2022 when Carson Wentz got hurt and we had to juggle with Taylor Heinicke. I remember when Chase Young got injured and our pass rush completely disappeared. I remember when Terry McLaurin wasn't 100% and our offense looked lost. But now what's happening? In every position, except for the specialists, we've needed someone other than the original starter to step up, and not only have they done so, but they've done it in a way that we keep winning games. That 41-24 victory against Vegas wasn't luck. It wasn't because Vegas is bad, although Vegas definitely has its problems. It was because we had players prepared who could execute the game plan, even with multiple changes in the lineup. And you know what gives me more confidence about this depth? That it's not desperation depth. We're not putting practice squad players in and hoping for the best. We're putting in players who have been specifically drafted and signed to contribute when necessary. This depth is going to be crucial not just for this season, but to establish a culture of internal competition that will benefit this franchise for years. When you have 15 to 20 players who know they can be called in at any time and can contribute significantly, that changes the entire dynamic of the locker room. But that's nothing compared to what's coming. What's coming? And here's what really has me on edge. Because all this depth we've been celebrating, all these rookies that are shining, it will all be tested tomorrow against a player who can single-handedly destroy all our progress. If we don't handle him properly. Drake London. 6 feet 4 inches, 215 pounds of pure nightmare for any secondary in the NFL. And especially for a secondary that is dealing with injuries like ours. And you know what this guy did last year? 100 catches for 1,171 yards receiving. That's elite wide receiver production. But you know what worries me most about London? It's not his numbers from last year. What worries me is that he's exactly the type of receiver who can exploit our current weaknesses. He's big, he's physical, he's an absolute machine in contested catches. And our secondary is thinner than the roster of the Cowboys when they get injured in playoffs. We've lost Will Harris for the entire season. The entire season. Harris was that versatility you need in modern NFL, that safety who can cover tight ends, who can come down to help against the run, who can provide extra coverage in critical situations. Without him, Joe Witt Jr. will have to be more creative than an artist at the Kennedy Center. Jonathan Jones is on injured reserve. Jones arrived here with credentials, with Super Bowl experience with New England, with that veteran presence that can make the difference in crucial moments. Without him, we're depending more on young players than any defensive coordinator wants to in high-pressure situations. And now what do we have? We have Trey Amos, and I've got to give credit where credit is due. This rookie cornerback has been showing out in his first 3 weeks. He's demonstrated coverage skills. He's shown physicality. He's shown he can compete at this level. We have Mike Sainristil, who is versatile and physical, but he measures 5 feet 10 inches. Are you going to tell me that Sainristil can match up with London in contested catch situations? I'm telling you this, it's going to be an uphill battle. And we have Marshon Lattimore, who has been a 4-time Pro Bowler with New Orleans, but frankly hasn't shown that form since arriving in Washington. Lattimore has the credentials. He has the experience of having covered elite receivers in the NFC South for years. But where's the consistency that made him special with the Saints? Now I ask you this, did you see what London and Michael Penix Jr. did to us in Week 17 last year? 7 catches, 106 yards receiving. They burned us in our own house, in a game we needed to maintain momentum going into the offseason. And now Penix is starting quarterback with something to prove. That's danger multiplied by danger. Penix has arm strength, he has mobility, and he has London as his security blanket. That combination can be toxic for any defense, but especially for a defense that's shuffling personnel due to injuries. But here's what truly worries me about the Falcons. It's not just London. It's that London is supported by a sneaky good supporting cast. Darnell Mooney can stretch the field vertically. Kyle Pitts, despite all his ups and downs, remains a matchup nightmare when focused and healthy. And on top of all that, they have coaching staff changes that could work in their favor. Their receivers coach Ike Hilliard, who by the way used to work for us here in Washington, was let go after that shutout loss against Carolina. Hilliard had coached London to that 100-catch, 1,171-yard season. But now TJ Yates is taking over those responsibilities. Do you know what midseason coaching changes can do? They can create unpredictability. They can create new wrinkles that don't show up in game film. They can motivate players who feel they have something to prove with new leadership. And if that weren't enough, Zach Robinson, their offensive coordinator, is leaving the booth and calling plays from the sideline. That's significant because coaches who call plays from the sideline can often make quicker adjustments, see things that don't appear as clearly from above. Joe Witt Jr. is going to have to pull out all the tricks. He's going to have to use brackets. He's got to put Lattimore in press coverage with safety help over the top. He's got to be creative with Percy Butler and Tyler Owens to help contain not just London, but also Pitts. And you know which play worries me the most? That route combination, where London runs something intermediate while Pitts stretches the seam. If we don't have perfect communication between our corners and safeties, that combination can result in big plays that completely change the game's momentum. So here we have the 3 realities of our Washington Commanders right now. Rookies shining like stars, depth saving us from disaster, and a massive challenge awaiting us that will test everything we've built so far. But you know what has me more excited than worried? That for the first time in years, I have genuine confidence that this organization can handle all these challenges. I have confidence that Quinn and his staff will find the right answers. I have confidence that these rookies will continue contributing when their moment comes. Do you think Lane and Krosky-Merritt will keep scoring touchdowns? Do you think our depth can really take us to the playoffs for the first time in years? And can our corners, led by Amos and supported by Lattimore, contain Drake London and that Falcons passing attack tomorrow? I'll tell you this with complete conviction, this season is different. This organization is different. And if you believe like I do that we're witnessing something special building here in the DMV, give this video a like right now if you want to be part of this community that's more than fans. That's family. That's living every moment of this Commanders Renaissance. Subscribe to the channel right now, because I guarantee you that after tomorrow's game, win or lose, we're going to have analysis, passion, and truth about where our team stands. And remember, hail to the Redskins!